Namaskar. Welcome to another episode of Editorial. My topic today is what is the cost of a war? My topic today and the question that I want to ask tonight is has anybody won a war? Matlab, what I want to know is, does a war normally end up having a winner and a loser? Is that the way it works? So let's talk about the possibility of an India-Pakistan war. Let's talk about India, let's talk about Pakistan, let's talk about Pakistan economy. In fact, let's talk more about Pakistan economy, because all these years we've been talking about India, we've been talking about our economy and our problems. Let's understand, especially for Indians who may have not known much about Pakistan and its economy. Let's talk about Pakistan, its economy, and how Pakistan and where Pakistan is headed to. And then we also talk about what really happens if there is a war. Who wins, who loses. Let's get right into the show. Okay. Today, before we get into war, cost of war, all of that, let's talk about Pakistan. All these years we've been talking about India, our problems, our issues. We've been covering that. We've been talking about our government. Now today, let us talk about Pakistan, because we should also understand what Pakistan was, what Pakistan is, what Pakistan is hoping to be. We should understand that, right? So let's talk about Pakistan. Let's talk about some details, some economic and social details of Pakistan. Did you know that in 1960, there was hardly any difference between Pakistan and India? Pakistan's per capita income in dollars in 1960 was $82. India, per capita income of Pakistan was $82 and India was $85. We were more or less the same. You see, in 2000, interestingly, in the year 2000, I'm sure you are seeing that on your screen, our per capita income was $443 and Pakistan's per capita income was more than us. It was almost $642. Pakistani was doing better. An average Pakistani was doing better in 2010. And then somewhere down the line, Pakistan lost the plot. After 2010, Pakistan lost the plot because then the line started flattening. It is not that it was completely flat, but it almost started flattening. India, on the other hand, 2010 onwards, it took off and it was like a parallel line upwards. India, 2010, like I told you, it was $443 was our per capita income, and 2010 we touched a per capita income of $1,348. Almost 200% jump. So that's India's jump. We went to $1,907 in 2020 and today we are $2,711 is our per capita income, and Pakistan's per capita income is $1,581. They are a little more than half of what we are as far as per capita income is concerned. Now mind you, while I say this, let me put a rider. $2,711 is not a great per capita income. Huh? There are a lot of countries, including Bangladesh, who are better than us as far as per capita income is concerned. So 2,711 is not a great figure. But the fact remains that if you look at it from a Pakistan perspective, we are almost double of Pakistan as far as per capita income is concerned. Now, this is the per capita income. Mind you, India's GDP is 350 lakh crores. 350 lakh crores. Pakistan's GDP is around 30 lakh crores. They're not even 10% of our GDP. Of course, we have 140 crore population and Pakistan is roughly around 24 crore population. But that being said, we are huge as far as GDP is concerned compared to Pakistan. Now, the point that I'm trying to make is not trying to show off India's prowess, but what I'm trying to say is where possibly Pakistan went wrong. That's what I'm trying to kind of share with you, kind of present to you. You see, the literacy rate of India. In 2023, we have an 80% literacy. 80% literacy. Pakistan, 2021, because that's the last figure, and these are thanks to Times of India, these data. 2021, Pakistan's literacy rate is 58%. 58% versus 80%. Look at the difference between the two countries. You see, the money spent on health by Pakistan, percentage of their GDP, 2000 was around 2.5% of their GDP, which is absolutely low. We spent around 4.1 in 2000, which is not very high, but I mean, compared to Pakistan, definitely better. In 2021, we spent around 3.4 while they spent 3%. So, spending on education, for instance, India spends around 4.1% on education. Pakistan spends 1.9%. 1.9% of their GDP on education. The point that I'm trying to say is not that India's spend is humongous and superb and this is the ultimate thing in the world and all that. No, the point that I'm trying to make is look at Pakistan's priority. They don't spend on education. They don't spend on health. Therefore, they have a 58% literacy. Therefore, their life expectancy today is 67, when our life expectancy is 72. So, these are sectors that they don't spend on: health, infrastructure, education. What they do spend is, look at this slide. They do spend on their military. Now, if you look at money terms, ours would be more because our GDP is huge and therefore the percentage, what we are talking about, actual money wise, our budgets are huge, but the fact remains that look at the percentage. If you look at the percentage of their GDP, they focus more on feeding their military more than feeding their men. They focus more on feeding their military right from 1960. One consistency they have maintained right from 1960. 4.3%, 5.9%, 5.9%, 4.2%, 3.5%, 2.8%. Their spend on military has always been consistently higher than the percentage India spend on our military. Let me also remind you, like I said, a rider down, possibly the physical money would be more in India because the percentage, our percentage of our GDP, the percentage would be, it would translate into a larger amount. That being said, the reason why possibly military rules and military wants to be relevant at all given point in time is because the economy and the money of Pakistan is being drawn and put onto military. You see, India from 1947 to 1950, we were drafting our constitution. So, we were under the Constituent Assembly. After that, once the parliament was formed, once our republic was established, once our constitution was tabled, from there on, we never looked back. We were always a republic, a democracy, right from 1950 to 2024. And I'm sure it will remain that way, God willing. Pakistan, like us, was drafting their constitution between 1947 to 1950. There was democracy in Pakistan from 1956 to 1958. From 1958 to 1973, there was military rule. From 1973 to 1977, there was democracy. From 1977 to 1988, there was military rule. From 1988 to 1999, there was democracy. From 1999 to 2008, there was military rule. And from 2008 to 2020, there was democracy. This has been the roadmap of Pakistan. So, a military man is the happiest person in Pakistan because he gets fed. All that Pakistan earns goes to military. Pakistan's priority is not education, not literacy. Pakistan's priority is not health of their people, military. Military, military and military. And that's the point that I wanted to make. See, I want to take you through some few more research, some very interesting research. You see, things like infant mortality rate. India had an infant mortality rate of 189.62% in 1950s, and Pakistan had 277. They were always higher. Today, their infant mortality rate is 54.65. Ours is 25.79. Like I said again, I'm not saying therefore we are the best or these are figures that we should be proud of. But definitely better than what Pakistan is. Much better than Pakistan is. Why? Because Pakistan's priorities have been different. Another point that I wanted to make is if you look at this concept called unicorn companies, I'm sure a lot of youngsters would know what unicorn company is. Unicorn company is a company that has $1 billion turnover, a startup, individually owned company which has got $1 billion turnover, though that is called unicorn company. Unicorn company in India, we've got 111 unicorn companies. 111 unicorn companies. Pakistan has got 3. You see, look at the direction, look at the growth. The only thing that they are better than us is their spend on military. So is their military better than us? No. We've got a far more better military than they have. We've got far more equipments than they have. We've got far more arms and ammunition than they have. Our military is far more A, funded, B, trained, C, staffed, and like I said, equipped than their military. But consistently, they have been feeding their military. They don't have money to spend on their education. They have been feeding their military. Why am I repeating this? I am repeating this because the reason why people like General Asim Munir,
पाकिस्तान की कहानी अपने बच्चों को जो है आपने जरूर सुनानी है ताकि वो पाकिस्तान की कहानी ना भूलें. Well, our forefathers, they thought that we are different from the Hindus in every possible aspect of life. Our religion is different. Our customs are different. Our traditions are different. Our thoughts are different. Our ambitions are different. That was the foundation of the two-nation theory that was laid there.
Comes and gives us a stupid statement which is not fit and doesn't even concern the army about what religion is, what two-nation theory is and all that. The reason he's trying to give this kind of statements, the reason he's trying to create terror, the reason he's helping terrorists, which is now more or less clear, the reason why an army general is doing it, because he has to be relevant. He needs an enemy, no? He has to point to an enemy so that Pakistan people run to him for his protection. This is like a local gunda. A local gunda has to get hafta. This is what the military is trying to do. They are trying to create an enemy and therefore feigning that they are protecting the nation. Somewhere down the line, Pakistan has lost their priorities. Has lost their priority. The youth needs job. 60% of their population is below 30. They need jobs. They need an employment. Again, like I said, not that I am saying India is flourishing with employment. No, but actually there is no comparison. Our state is far better than theirs. And come to think of it, if you start from 1960, when we and they were almost the same, 85 and 82 per capita income, to where we are now, they should be looking at these graphs. Not as comparison or not as to ensure that they also have a good life. They also have a vision of being a global leader, a superpower someday. So the fact is, this is the point I wanted to make. So we heard about Pakistan. We went through the figures. We went through the economic situation of Pakistan. Now let us talk about what a war would get us. Yesterday I was watching television. I couldn't give an editorial yesterday. I couldn't come and present an editorial in front of you yesterday is because I was busy putting a lot of things together, and therefore I was watching television for a change, and I saw these anchors, having guns going over, aircrafts going over, bombs and some cheap CG going on behind them and all of that. So all of that was happening, and they were glorifying war. glorifying war as if it's not war, it's a cricket match between two nations. You see, the question that I want to ask you is, has anybody won a war, for that matter of fact? Which means, has anybody gone happy after a war? End of the day, whoever wins, whoever loses, every side loses life. Every side loses life. There are thousands of families that are left orphan after a war, isn't it? Has anybody won a war? Has things changed after a war? We fought 3 wars with Pakistan. Pakistan is still sponsoring terrorism in India. And all the 3 wars, mind you, technically we won. See, that does not mean, again, let me be very clear here, that does not mean that I am recommending war or not war or something. I am not either for or against, because I cannot opine on that. I have no knowledge, I have no complete data on what is happening around. So, I am in no position to opine on that. It's a decision that the government has to take, and the government, I'm sure, will take the right decision. At least, I hope the government takes the right decision. And this time around, I don't even keep normally like I do in front of my audience saying that this is one side, this is the other side, now you decide. Because it is not our decision to make. Neither do we have a kind of vision or understanding to opine on it. Whether the war is right or war is not right. We can sit in studios and talk. We can do intellectual discussions, but except for that, nothing. What happens on ground, the intelligence from ground, what is really happening, where, how this originated, who originated, where it originated from, these are information we don't have. So what is the point of us sitting in a studio and saying war hona chahiye, nahi hona chahiye? The point that I'm talking is realistic. Realistic matlab, I have never seen a country win a war and then become rich, or win a war and their people all of a sudden next day morning become prosperous. I have never seen that happen. I have seen a country that has focused on economy, and in a few years their people became very prosperous. I've seen that. I've seen that with Japan. I've seen that with Singapore. You focus on economy and your people are happy. I have not seen a country that focused on war and all of a sudden their people became happy. I have never seen that. In fact, looking at countries like Iran, Afghanistan, Iraq, we have only seen miseries. 100 years war and except for miseries, it has provided nothing. The point is, what happens if there is a war between India and Pakistan? India is in a much better position, both economically and in terms of our military power. We are in a much better position. Now, there is no debate. When Pakistan can make dialogues or whoever can make dialogues, all that is fine. But as of today, India is in a much better position. The chances are, I don't think, tomorrow morning China will intervene or any other country will intervene to help Pakistan. In fact, Pakistan is being isolated. This can be seen in this man's face. Look at his face. He's worried. Sabah Sharif is worried. His press conference yesterday, he was a worried man. Picture can speak 1,000 words. He was a worried man. The point is, we are in a much better position as far as winning a war is concerned, technically. But will we actually win? You see, India, we are going through our golden age. Our infrastructure, our economy, our industries, our investments, our foreign exchange. We are amazingly poised for growth. We are a very robust country. We have our own problems, no doubt about it. And we talk about it, don't we? We have our own problems. But if you look at it from an overall perspective, right from 2010, and let me tell you, right from 2010, India has been growing steadily. The point is that end of the day, will a war not hamper this growth? Will a war not hamper our foreign exchange? Will a war not hamper our potential investors? Will a war not hamper our industries, our IT industry, our agricultural industry? Will a war not hamper our growth, the pace at which we are growing? So a war is definitely going to impact India. A war is definitely going to impact our economy. A war is definitely going to hamper us. But if you talk about Pakistan, Pakistan is in shambles as far as economy is concerned. No jobs, huge unemployment, no investments. Literally, they are dried out of investments. No investments. No manufacturing, no production. Pakistan will almost get wiped out. Economically at least. They will get wiped out in case there is a full-fledged war. It will be very difficult for the current Pakistan to resurrect itself, to come back. And unfortunately, an average Pakistani will suffer. Why an average Pakistani will suffer? An average Pakistani will suffer because the Pakistan military wants them to suffer. India is not their problem, like I told you before. It is the military that wants you to suffer. Why a military wants you to suffer? The military wants you to suffer is only if you suffer, they are relevant. If you don't suffer, they are not relevant. So, it is for their relevance so that you keep on spending money, Pakistan. You keep on spending your hard-earned money on them. That is why all of this. Pakistan should realize it. That being said, I am not saying therefore our politicians won't benefit or won't get mileage out of this. Of course, if there is a war, if there is a counter action taken, the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, its popularity will peak. But the fact remains that we didn't start this. India didn't start this particular escalation. We didn't start it. This was purely from the side of Pakistan. This is the point I wanted to make till I see you next time. That's tomorrow at 10. And before I end, let me thank India Today and Times of India for, that's where we did a lot of these data from. So we thank them for this. And like I said, till I see you next time, that's day after tomorrow at 10. Namaskar.